Good afternoon and happy Friday, everyone. New at 4, North Dakota Highway Patrol is searching for a suspect that got away during a high-speed chase this morning. Just after 9 a.m., a trooper attempted to stop a Pontiac Grand Prix, but it sped away on I-94 at speeds of more than 100 miles per hour, then collided with another vehicle near the Mapleton exit. Despite deploying spike strips, the vehicle was able to escape when it exited on Veterans Boulevard. Highway Patrol stopped chasing in the interest of public safety. The Pontiac was found abandoned near a hotel, but the suspect hasn't been found. Police say any tips can be called into Highway Patrol at the phone number on your screen. Also new at 4, police are investigating a stabbing in Alexandria that happened around 11:30 last night on Fillmore Street. The victim was taken to the hospital. Police haven't said if anyone was arrested or if they're actively looking for a suspect. We'll continue to provide updates on our website, rallynewslive.com, or on your VNL News app. New information now in a story we've been following for you. Authorities have now released the cause of death for Caitlin Berry, 7 weeks after she went missing in Sidney, Montana. They say she died of hypothermia. Berry's body was found January 20th after a search by the FBI, Montana BCI, and Border Patrol. Berry is the daughter of Grand Forks Assistant State's Attorney. Her family has started a nonprofit organization aimed at supporting those dealing with mental health issues and drug and alcohol abuse. Meteorologist Nathan Hopper joins us now with a preview of our weekend weather. Nathan?
Yeah, thanks, Stacey. Good news is it's not looking to be as intense in the weather department for this weekend. Warmer as well. You can see right now some wind is still whipping out there. Our Dakota Magic Casino sky cam showing still some reduced visibilities thanks to that blowing snow. Some of that fresh snow we got last night is still able to be lofted in the atmosphere and cause those visibility restrictions that we're seeing at this hour. So here's how things are shaping up. This is how high the wind got today. 45 miles per hour there in Carrington. 44 miles per hour Cooperstown, Jamestown, Fargo, and Grand Forks both saw gusts of 37 miles per hour. So again, especially in open country here where it was pretty tough out there. A lot of folks have been telling me they've been outside the city limits, and it has been tough to see when you get out into outside the city. And of course, satellite and radar shows not much going on, so not much active snowfall. In fact, some sun is peeking through some of those blowing snow clouds that we've got. But because there is still blowing snow, winter weather advisory for our Northern Valley, Northern Red River counties, and then down into portions of Lakes Country. That goes till 6 p.m. I think around 6 p.m. is when that wind will come down enough to where the blowing snow won't be as much of an issue for us. But a wind chill advisory goes until 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, and we are seeing some wind already coming down in the Devil's Lake Basin around 26 miles per hour there, 17 miles per hour at Thief River Falls. So Stacey, yes, the weekend is upon us. I'll break down a chance of some snow for Saturday, but then also warmer temperatures here in a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Nathan. While Russia tests Western resolve in Ukraine, North Korea is stepping up its challenge to the U.S. in Asia. The country has ramped up its missile testing since the beginning of the year, and now they've been test firing components of a new intercontinental ballistic missile. Elizabeth Palmer has more.
North Korea had said the launches, 2 in the past 2 weeks, were to help develop satellites. But U.S. intelligence believes they were really to test components for a much larger weapon. The gigantic Hwasong-17 rolled out in a military parade back in 2020, but as far as anyone knows, never actually fired. It's an intercontinental ballistic missile, and if it works, designed to reach anywhere in the continental United States. North Korea's leader, Kim Jong-un, today appeared at a space launch pad and announced he's also going to speed up the development of military satellites. Negotiations between Kim Jong-un and former President Trump in 2018 and 19 collapsed with no deal to curb North Korea's weapons program. The Biden administration has said it is willing to meet with North Korea anytime, but hasn't offered a concrete proposal to get talks underway. Elizabeth Palmer, CBS News, London.
Meanwhile, in just the first 10 weeks of this year, Western analysts believe North Korea has manufactured enough nuclear material for at least 1 and maybe 2 more atomic weapons. Google is rolling out air raid alerts for Ukraine. Millions of Ukrainians now rely on air raid warnings to get to safety, and Google is adding an alert system to Android devices to help people get there. Currently, the Ukrainian government is using a third-party app to warn citizens, and Google says it's offering its services at the request of the government. Ukrainian refugees fleeing the attacks by Russia faced freezing temperatures as they waited to cross into Romania last night. Romanian firefighters and volunteers provided food, drinks, and supplies. They also set up a temporary tent camp at a soccer stadium. Roughly 2.5 million people have fled Ukraine in recent weeks, including almost 400,000 into Romania. A Chicago judge sentenced Jussie Smallett to 150 days in jail with 30 months probation for lying after he staged a hate crime against himself. Smallett claimed two masked men beat him up, yelled racial and homophobic slurs at him, and put a noose around his neck. But it was determined Smallett paid two others $3,500 to carry out the attack. Jussie Smallett maintained his innocence on his way out of court last night. He was also fined $25,000. The defense team criticized the sentence as being more severe than warranted.
I have never seen in my entire career as an attorney, and none of the other attorneys here have ever seen a situation where a class 4 felony gets the same treatment as a violent offense. In fact, I would say I've never seen a violent offense get this much fines.
That investigation cost the city roughly $130,000, including more than 1,000 hours of overtime pay. The Cass County Sheriff's Office is warning you about an online scam involving cat breeders. They're listed on your screen. Victims from various states say they've purchased cats from breeders claiming to be in Leonard, North Dakota. The prices range from $500 to $2,500. The Sheriff's Office is reminding everyone to only make online purchases from verified vendors. Today marks the second anniversary of when the COVID-19 outbreak was declared a pandemic. On that day in 2020, the Dow plunged more than 1,000 points. Airlines grounded flights and millions of people began losing their jobs as the economy screeched to nearly a halt. Today, while the market has been in turmoil recently, it's not close to 2020 levels, and the workforce has been surprisingly resilient. Valley News Team's Bailey Hurley is digging into how the Fargo-Moorhead community has changed since the beginning of the pandemic. You can catch that story Tuesday at 6. For most Americans, higher prices are making it harder to afford basic necessities. The annual inflation rate is at a 40-year high, hitting 7.9% in February. Housing costs have increased nearly 5%, the biggest yearly jump since 1991. Nancy Chen visited South Florida, where rent increases are the highest in the nation.
So what's the first one? What's this one called?
Just about every renter in South Florida has the same story. When their lease comes up, sticker shock. That's what happened to Jamie Wolf, a single mom raising 3 kids.
We're looking at almost $1,000 in an increase. Previously I got, 5%, 6%, I think, increases, things that you could kind of prepare for.
Sure, but $1,000.
It's impossible to prepare for.
Nationwide, rents have soared nearly 20% year over year. But in South Florida, they're up nearly 50%.
You think this is going to get worse?
Oh, there's no question. There's no question in our mind.
Diana Stanley runs the Lord's Place in West Palm Beach, which helps homeless people and those on the brink. She says that calls seeking help have doubled in the past year.
We are going to have a massive increase in homelessness.
Betty Rivers is hoping to afford any type of shelter after her rent rose from $900 to $1,500 a month.
It was a downfall for me.
For now, this grandmother of 5 is sleeping on her daughter's couch.
If I give up then, I feel like I'm giving up on myself.
The end may not be in sight. Florida has no rent control, and demand is far greater than supply, with more people moving there during the pandemic. The costs, Stanley says, will keep going up, pricing many more out of the market.
I just want to be prepared beyond this year. I just want to have a little bit of security.
Nancy Chen, CBS News.
And it's not just rent that's increasing. The cost of buying a home is rising as well. Real estate prices are reaching record highs, with the number of houses on the market down by half from 2 years ago. America's pastime is coming back. The standoff between Major League Baseball and the Players Union is finally over. Opening day is scheduled for April 7th. Among those breathing a sigh of relief, bar and restaurant owners in Minneapolis that already weathered the financial pain of no fans in 2020 and a slow start last year.
How much more stress can we handle? Today's news is really, really exciting for not only us, but every bar and restaurant in this area that rely on baseball and fans coming down to watch the Twins.
Now, despite the late start, the MLB commissioner says the 2022 season will have the usual 162 games. Bars and restaurants near Target Field hope this signals more business in the months to come. Bad news for unvaccinated MLB players. Players who are not vaccinated against coronavirus won't be allowed to travel into Canada to face the Blue Jays, and they won't be paid for those games. Canada's government requires a person must have received a second vaccine dose or one dose of Johnson & Johnson at least 14 days prior to entry. The provision that they won't be paid is contained in a side letter between MLB and the Players Association. Toronto opens at home against Texas on April 8th. Happening right now, you can gear up for summer at the Lake Home and Garden Show at Shields Arena. Vendors and experts are there to show off new products and fresh ideas. It's for people who have a lake home or looking for a weekend getaway at an area resort or want something more adventurous like a yurt or a treehouse. You can check it all out until 8 o'clock tonight, from 10 to 6 tomorrow and 10 to 4 on Sunday. Coming